You've probably heard the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. True words indeed. But my brother Anthony made me aware of a similar saying. The streets of hell are paved with the skulls of bishops. Trouble was brewing in the Church of England in the mid-19th century. Interestingly, it wasn't brewing in England. It was happening in South Africa, a British colony at the time, where John Colenso, the Bishop of Natal, was advocating some controversial positions on the foundation and nature of Scripture and the nature of God himself. But many of his fellow clergy were having none of it. One of those clergy was a man named Samuel Stone. In 1866, 3 years after being ordained an Anglican priest, and in direct response to Colenso's teaching, which many considered nothing short of heresy, Stone wrote 12 hymns based on the 12 articles of the Apostles' Creed. This hymn is based specifically on article number 9, and the scriptural text in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11, "For other foundation can no man lay that is laid, which is Jesus Christ." Stone's hymn was written specifically as a response to a threat to truth from within the church. And that hasn't changed much. I had a local pastor, not an Anglican pastor, tell me a few years ago that I should be careful how I respond to Scripture because it was written a long, long time ago, and after all, God does change his mind. Fortunately, I had a strong enough foundation to know better. I also saw a sign at another local church that read, "God still speaks." And as my other brother Chris is fond of adding when he sees this, and he tells us exactly what we want to hear. 2 years after Samuel Stone penned the words to his hymn, they were put to the tune called Aurelia, which means golden, written by Samuel Wesley for an entirely different purpose, but adopted for Stone's hymn in 1868. My research indicated that Stone originally wrote 3 stanzas for his hymn, 2 of which are included in the 4 published stanzas today. But his 3rd stanza is not. It seems the 3rd stanza was not considered to adhere to the standards of civility at the time. Of course, it's quite tame indeed compared with the standards or lack thereof of civility today. Given that Stone's hymn is not only a confirmation of the fundamental tenets of the historic Christian faith, but also a warning of perhaps well-intentioned, but nonetheless heretical enemies from within the church, and given that it is just as pertinent today as it was then, I decided to use Stone's original 3rd stanza. And so my setting here uses Stone's original 3 stanzas.
Church has one foundation, is Jesus Christ her Lord. She is his new creation by water and the word. From heaven he came and sought her to be his holy bride. With his own blood he bought her, and for her life he died. Though with a scornful wonder we see her sorrow pressed, are keeping their